right now there's a lot of discussion in workplaces around the world and in communities about the role of what it means to be human in some ways, against the backdrop of AI, against hybrid work, this perennial challenge of humanity, like how do we preserve what it means to be human, is just playing out a lot. So that there's a lot of words such as human-centered this, human-centered spaces, human-centered work, the relationships that we have. And I guess my starting question for you, Megan, is, art is often seen of in the realm of humanities. Like, why do you think that might be the case? Like, why did we think about art as humanities?
Well, I think one of the things that you mentioned, actually, AI kind of sparked an idea or a thought. AI is a machine. We still have to guide AI to get a result from it, whereas humans, we're the ones who are producing. All the ideas, they're originating from us. Now, we can attempt these by maybe a logical process, step 1 to 10, or with creatives, maybe some creatives are influenced by our inner emotional core, inner thoughts, our intuition, which gets thrown a lot around in the art world. But there are different pathways to creativity, and I know for creating art, there's not just one way to create. There's not one style of artwork. So in that sense, I think that's what differs us with being humans to AI, the machines.
Well, I'll take that part that you just mentioned of creating different pathways. And I think that's actually quite a poignant observation, because in a lot of work, in business, in any sort of a system, we need rules. There's processes, there's ways of following. It's logical. It's a little bit black and white. And as you pointed out, AI, something like AI, is a machine. It's a robot. And yes, it can create stuff, but it's still not quite the same thing as when a human creates something, because as a human creating something, we're bringing in emotions.
Yep.
We're bringing in our mood, our relationships, our experiences.
All the outside factors.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, it's interesting that the part of the humanity and the humanities and art is actually a demonstration of all of those different pathways, because that's why art is so subjective.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you've got different plays, and Scott and I kind of chat about this a bit, that you might have someone in an office who might be underperforming, having some issues, and like the logical step would be to dismiss them, get rid of them without finding the root cause, where I think nowadays people are starting to look at what's the root cause. Can we fix this person's problem to change the direction? And I think this all became of a topic of like what COVID. I think this all really started this investigation of like, hey, what's the problem? Can we fix this? Can we help this person so that we can help them continue at their job to provide for their family and everything else? And I know a lot of people see the negative effects of COVID, but I also see a lot of positives from this situation.
Yeah, I think I think some of the negative component of that is that it really is challenging. As someone who has run teams and worked with people, to now go to that level to work with people and help people solve problems, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And part of the reason it's a lot is because everyone is different.
Yeah.
Beyond the initial bit of, call it the friction of this person's underperforming or this person has caused a problem, there's usually a much greater depth of reason as to why that's the case. And the practice of going much deeper into that is something that needs a very diverse approach. And just as there are people with different learning styles and communication styles, so too that has to apply for a diverse group of people.
Or it can be emotionally exhausting because you're having to put all this extra energy in to find out what the person's problem is, what kind of emotional support they need, finding the solution and then executing the solution. So with humans, we're complex. We're not simple. Some of us a little more laid back than others, but we all have issues, and it's stepping into that person's shoes and relating to them.
So for me then, a lot of the humanities and thinking about that question of what do we do to create more human environments or human relationships is about the embracing of all the different pathways, and that there are going to be a multitude of different interventions and supports and activities that help people through.
Yeah.
And I'm conscious about this because with Colour Space, this was always sort of the intention. Mm-hmm. And so, Colour Space, on the surface, we change artwork every 3 months. At a quick level, it could look as it's something that's decorative, we're changing the space of it. But at a much deeper level, we're recognizing, what we're trying to do is inject a particular level of humanity into a space. And we're often very upfront with people we work with to say, we're not here to give the best artwork. So what does that mean?
Or we're not interior designing the office. We're not matching the artwork to the decor.
That's right. Because there's something I think really interesting about the notion of creating the space that allows for differences and it allows for different people to engage in different ways. And and we also acknowledge that what we're doing is but a small part of the whole, right? And that's the idea, I think, of humanities, and coming back to what does it mean to create more human spaces and human relationships. It's about embracing all of that. And I think the role of art has historically always played that type of role.
Yeah.